Hey, welcome to another episode of movie reviews by the dad
and the daughter.
And the daughter, yes.
Maximum.
Till we come up with a better name. Dad and daughter reviews.
Daughter.
Daddy daughter reviews. Well, that was when you were little. Now it's like dad. Not still daddy.
Who cares?
I guess I'm always daddy.
I call you that when you don't listen. When I'm like calling for you and you don't. I'm like, dad.
All right.
Anyway.
It's a nice cold November day, November 10th. We're indoors.
November 10th.
11th. I'm still wearing a winter type hat. She's bundled up. So today we're gonna talk about pretty much like a week late, so to speak, because it's already been out. It's been out for a week.
But we saw it later too.
No, we saw it on Sunday. We saw it the same weekend. So, if you haven't figured out what we're talking about, then as you'll see when we start making more videos, we should have done more last year. But big old superhero movie geek right here. So this one is for none other than Thor Ragnarok that just came out last Friday. And we saw it last Sunday, so let's jump right into it. First, I was thinking about this. Speaking of, like I just said, we were supposed to make really should have been doing reviews since last year with Civil War and Batman vs Superman, Deadpool, and whatever else came out. And what I wanted to do, we never did, was like a preview for 2017, since there was so many movies coming out this year. Kind of like probably the best year they've had yet, in my opinion, when you talk about DC and Marvel. So let's just start out by saying, had we done that video, I'm gonna bring this stuff up now, but I said from day one, Thor Ragnarok was my most anticipated movie of the year, probably period, but definitely for like comic book superheroes. I mean, you still got Star Wars, so that's high up there too, but honestly, I would say Thor Ragnarok was more anticipated than that too. Anyway, so real quickly, let's what's going on? Let's talk about that real quick. If you go back and say, like, I'm gonna just tell you, mine go in this order. And this is basically the movies that came out this year. We still have one left, but Thor Ragnarok was 1. Justice League was 2, coming out next week, coming up. Wonder Woman was 3. Spider-Man Homecoming was 4. Now, you probably didn't care about this movie, but Logan, people forget about that one. That was 5. And Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 was my least anticipated movie of the year. So, for you, what would have been yours? I guess we're not even talking about Logan, but of the other 5.
Probably the same order. Thor, well, no, because I really want to see Wonder Woman, because, like, female power. So, Wonder Woman.
Where are you?
Yeah, Wonder Woman, then Thor. Oh. You gotta be in too.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
Okay.
Wonder Woman, Thor.
I mean, we need more than half your face. Look at it so you can see where you're at.
I'm trying to, like, focus that.
Okay.
Wonder Woman, Thor. Surprisingly, I was more anticipating Spider-Man. Surprisingly. Like, I didn't think I would. I didn't care for Logan, like he said. Like, I wasn't anticipating it. And that's pretty much it, because I didn't really
What about Guardians?
But
I remember you saying that was one of your top 2 or 3. I think you were more interested in Guardians than Spider-Man, if you think about it. Because remember, you weren't even acting like you cared about seeing Spider-Man. Remember, you basically, like, the week before we went to see it, or basically the weekend it came out, is when you finally said, oh yeah, I wanted to see Spider-Man Homecoming, right?
Yeah.
Previously, between May and July, you didn't act like you really cared. I think your order really is Wonder Woman, Thor, Guardians of the Galaxy, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Am I missing one?
Are we talking about Homecoming?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The movie came out this year.
Yeah.
What about Justice League? Like, if you can go back in your mind.
I'm not really anticipating. Well, okay.
Going
we
back.
said this. Yeah.
I was about to touch on the thing. I was going to touch on that little
we just said
below
this,
the
like,
belt backhanded compliment. We were both saying, after seeing Thor Ragnarok, we're more excited about seeing Justice League.
But we're not expecting
it doesn't
much.
mean we still have high hopes for it. So that's kind of messed up. If you understand what I'm saying. It's like, but still, like I said, that was my second most anticipated movie. It's just the things that have happened since then with marketing and commercials.
Yeah, I haven't seen enough marketing for it. I don't.
In the stuff I have seen, it doesn't really excite me, But it's still anticipated just because I want to see.
Justice League.
Yeah, I want to see them put this group together. I want to see what's going to happen with it. That's mainly the reason. It really has nothing to do with how good I think it's going to be, even at the beginning of the year. And still now. Oh, and plus, seeing Wonder Woman helps boost your anticipation because Wonder Woman was great. And I'm hoping that spills over into it because Batman vs. Superman, I'm not one of these people that craps all over it, but, it was disappointing. Period. It was disappointing. It was good, but it was disappointing. So you need more than disappointing. You need better than good for Batman vs. Superman. Batman vs. Superman should have been excellent, and it wasn't, in my opinion. So it seems like you can't really answer the question.
No,
because you can't take your mind back before you saw these things. Probably because I had you'd probably written it down, so that's why I can still remember, like, it was, Thor, Justice League, Wonder Woman, Spider-Man, Logan, Guardians. That was my anticipation.
Because I most definitely do not care about Logan, unfortunately.
So, So with that being said, that's my point. Thor Ragnarok was my most anticipated movie of the year. So I went in with some high hopes for it. That's all I meant by that. So let's jump into reviewing. And again, at some point, we're going to do, maybe we'll start doing non-spoiler. I don't know. But, everybody's seen it by now, so spoilers. But most of the reviews, I don't really know how to, I'm going to have to work on doing non-spoiler reviews because it's hard for me to talk about stuff without spoilers.
Well, okay. I see how we can do it. But
we'll figure it out. Because we should do them like when we see them, but we don't want to have spoilers. If we see it Sunday and we came home and did a review Sunday, you wouldn't really want to have spoilers. You know what I'm saying? Now it doesn't
Well, then
matter.
You could just delay posting. Anyway,
that's
we're
true
not
too.
talking about that.
But then you want the review to come out so people can see it, and get some type of impression of whether they want to see it. See, right now we're doing these reviews just so people can share ideas versus doing a review to let people know whether they should see it or not. You see what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
That's where non-spoilers come in.
Yeah.
So, we kind of
yeah, I get it now. Okay,
we kind of got a format. So we're just going to jump in these questions that we have. So, like, favorite scene. Well, no, first, just overall, without giving your score. Just, like, give a brief type of comments on how you felt about it.
Me or you?
Huh?
Me or you?
You.
I enjoyed it, obviously. It was very enjoyable.
Is it obvious? You don't know that.
Such a picky person.
It's obvious to me because I know when we saw it, but they don't know.
Well, I enjoyed it. It still had the, like, Marvel feel, even though they had, like, hit a lot of serious topics, kind of. It still had that, like, funny, lighthearted Marvel feel to it. And I can't believe we're eating applesauce right now.
Applesauce.
Chunky applesauce. Ugh. Anyway, so, and it did a good job still keeping the feeling of keeping the environment of the characters, like Thor
and water.
It still had the feelings of, like, the same Thor. Thor didn't change as a person too much, and Loki didn't change, or the Hulk didn't change too much.
And it's funny you say that. Hey, I didn't know she was gonna say that. But the funniest thing, and kind of frustrating to me, actually, it's not really funny, is reading comments online and chat pages and stuff. I mean, it's not like this is the overwhelming majority of what people say, but I'm just saying there's a lot of people that be saying how they keep talking about, if you saw the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about, and if you haven't, hey, you can, when you do see it, see if you agree with me or what these other people are saying. But people are talking about that they changed Thor's character, that he's dumb, and why is they making him such a dumb comedic character, and he's like goofy. I don't know what the
Thor's
heck.
always been sarcastic though.
I don't know where these people are getting this stuff from. So on that note, I'm gonna say this. I'll just say this right now.
I'm scared.
I'm probably gonna do like a full on Thor like retrospective, because it, like, listening to all these people talk about it made me really think about, well, first of all, Thor and Hulk are my two favorite Avengers, so that plays partly into why I'm a Hulk mark. But yeah, Thor is my second favorite, so that's partially why I was so excited about seeing this movie all the way back when, a year or whatever ago, when they said that they were going to be in a movie together. But I mean, even before that, my whole thing is, as I looked back from Thor, the first Thor, Thor: The Dark World, Avengers, Age of Ultron, and now this movie. It's 5 times we've seen this dude. It made me get a kind of appreciation that I'm going to do a video on. That it's like a preview. I'm going to give y'all a sneak preview. My whole kind of premise of that video that's coming up, it's going to be about that Thor is actually the MVP of the entire MCU, in my opinion. So think about that.
I could see that.
And that sounds crazy, because if you go across the internet, most people always, I've read a lot of rankings of the MCU movies, all 17 that they have now, and people always list Thor: The Dark World as at the bottom or near the bottom, as well as the first Thor. But I hear a lot of people crap on Dark World, and I've never understood that, because another thing in this mind of mine that I should have been doing videos all the way back then, 2013, that was my favorite superhero movie that came out that year. And that was this Thor: The Dark World, The Wolverine, Man of Steel, and Iron Man 3. Thor: The Dark World was like easily my favorite movie that came out that year, and it came out in November, which is interesting. Like, most of his movies, well, the first movie didn't come out in November, but like these last two have been Novembers. So, I don't get the Thor bashing, and people now, which is partially the reason why I read a lot of things where they're saying this is the best Thor movie by far, and I agree with that. Now, I will agree with that. By far, this is the best Thor movie. But that doesn't mean I thought the other ones were that bad in the first place. You know what I'm trying to say? Mm-hmm. So yeah, it just made me really think. I'm gonna do a video to just talk about the history of this dude in the MCU and show some appreciation for him. Because honestly, he's still not my favorite Avenger, but I'm just saying, if I had to really nail an MVP of throughout all of the movies he's appeared in, like maybe MVP is not the best word, but like underrated character, maybe that will be it. But I still say MVP, and I'm going to point out why I think that when I get to that video. Because at the same time, Captain America's been beast. I mean, it's like between those two guys. Anyway, but yeah, it's funny that you say that, because people talk about his character changing and he was dumb and all this other stuff. Let me just address that right now. The dude has always been cocky, kind of like, to the point where he is a little bit, not dumb, but like, he takes a lot of chances. And he is kind of a meathead in a way, going all the way back to the first movie. You know what I mean? It just so happens this guy that directed it has a weird sense of comedy, which I loved. But anyway, we'll get into that. But go back to the first movie. I mean, when he was walking to be crowned king, he's walking down the aisle. He's winking at people and acting all cocky and silly. And, it's supposed to be a royal moment and he getting crowned. I remember Odin was or his mother, one of them was looking at him like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with this dude? His mom. Yeah. And then, of course, Loki was sitting there hating. But yeah, I mean, he was like, yeah, walking around all braggadocious, in other words. I mean, that fits with the dude that was in this movie. Go to Thor: The Dark World. When he went to, when he first showed up and, like, busted that rock dude into pieces, which actually is the same race as Korg. Supposedly, I believe that's what they said. You know what I mean? In other words, he carried a kind of comedic arrogance in every movie he's been in. And I knew he did some stuff in, this is the same guy that was talking about well, I'm not gonna talk about in the Avengers, but Age of Ultron was on TV the other day, and I was watching it, and I already knew there was a scene in there. Wasn't really thinking about it really clearly, and then I saw it. One of the funniest scenes in that movie was like when they first finished, like at the beginning of the movie, when they first got past Hydra or whatever, and they were on their way back to their home base or whatever, and Hulk was all how Banner always is after he turns to the Hulk. He's kind of like thinking, I didn't even really want to be turned into the Hulk. What did I damage did I do? And then like Black Widow asked him like, what was the report on? And he was like, they've been cast into the gates of hell with screaming. And then like she looked at him like, come on, that's not what he wants to hear. And then he was just like, oh, but it was mainly just screams of. He tried to play it off. I forgot. The line was hilarious. Like Chris Hemsworth has been showing comedic ability. That's one of my favorite. I mean, I rewound that like a bunch of times, cracking up at the way he was just like. It was mainly separated shoulders, and he was trying to lighten up what he said the damage the Hulk did. It just sounded ridiculous. So same thing. I mean, that was basically the same dude who was in this movie, in my opinion. So now that I'm going to talk the whole long time about that. I wish I could remember that. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Go watch Age of Ultron. He was basically, first he was saying like there was like Hulk left death and destruction, but then he tried to change it and make it sound not so bad. It was just hilarious. He said something about separated shoulders and gout. He said gout. As if that's what was the problem. You know what I mean? So that was kind of dumb. He's dumb in that he started out saying that stuff in the first place. He's a little clueless sometimes. That's the word, clueless. So what's the difference? Anyway. So I didn't even give you a chance to tell you your favorite scene. So I'm just going to do mine. Actually, I don't even know what my favorite scene is.
This is why you write things down.
Yeah, well, I couldn't even when I did it. And I was trying to freestyle. I didn't really want to, I'm like Jay-Z, I don't want to write down my lyrics. I mean, it's only like 10 questions. So, I pretty much memorized my answers to all of these. But I'm going to say it's either, I'll just talk about scenes that I loved. I definitely loved the gladiator, what do you want to call that?
Ring battle.
Yeah, the ring battle between Hulk and Thor. I mean, the crap was dope. Yeah, it was. Getting to see Thor actually really hanging with him. Pretty much in general, like we really got to kind of see what Thor can do now. Because I mean, from the opening moments of the movie, it started right into action, showing him doing his thing with Mjolnir, and then just so on and so forth. I mean, he had a lot of good fight scenes showing how badass he is with or without the hammer. So, but that was one of my favorites. At the end, when he did discover his God of Thunder powers without Mjolnir, and like that one scene where I think he jumped in the air and like turned like horizontally and then spiraled through a bunch of dudes. I mean, that whole scene, like, that's one of them get your chills in your spine thing, because he was, and then they had the Immigrant song going with Led Zeppelin at that moment. That crap was awesome. Yeah, so that whole sequence is probably my favorite scene. But there are just a lot of good scenes anyway. So, what about you?
You took mine, the ring battle, because, the comedic point of view with Loki there being afraid of Hulk, not knowing that he was like the main
There's a lot of stuff going on in this
the major gladiator, and then what are you trying to do?
Oh, I wanted to look.
And then I already forget the Collector sitting there not knowing the relationship between Loki and the Hulk, and when Loki was like celebrating, he was like, I just love this sport. I was like, yeah, sure. My headphones are on, Dad. This is it. You're planning poorly.
Turn it off.
I did.
Were those wireless? Where'd you get those from?
Now is not the time. I found those on the ground like 20 weeks ago.
Nice. Good for you.
Probably got to turn the volume up then. Don't do that too loud. I was waiting for her to come over here later. But, oh, and then the battling in general, like, that was really good CGI and stuff. Like,
Yeah,
it
it
had
was.
some good effects. And then Valkyrie just sitting there drinking, and, like, how she was actually interested until at the end of the battle, when, of course, the Collector just electrocuted Thor to have him lose. And then she just seemed uninterested. Like, it showed how there was, like, character development, I want to say. Whereas, like, she did have interest from the beginning, but, like, it just got thrown off track by the Collector. If you don't stop turning it up.
I'm using this background music.
That's why that's my favorite. That's why that's my favorite scene.
I'll turn it off.
Just click the power button.
I mean, I already like the song.
Just click the power
just
button.
for all you.
I want to play something.
For all y'all like latecomers who just like stuff just because of that. First of all, Led Zeppelin. This is a totally off subject topic. That's my favorite rock band of all time. So, and that's always been one of my favorite songs.
Don't even listen to rock.
Yes, I do.
Play.
Anyway, yeah. I'm gonna get into something else.
I'm gonna get into a whole bunch of stuff that I don't even know if you're gonna know. So go ahead and use your time.
So let's go into your least favorite scene. Me. Well, you know what? I don't know. I don't. Again, it's hard for me to even say because I pretty much liked everything in here. I guess I'll just say this. What the heck is that?
We're singing this in choir.
What kind of do with this? It sounds very Thorish, though. You know what I need to play is my radio project of the Marvel Secret Wars.
No, we're not playing.
Because I did a scene with Thor and I used some like heavy metal sounding music. I mean, I was kind of ahead of my time. I knew what I was supposed to do. It fit. Anyway, so my least favorite scene. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I'll just say a scene they probably could have like lessened or did without was the one where he was like riding in the chair. And I remember hearing some stuff about this, watching like the movie talk shows that I watch on YouTube. You know, it was okay. You know, it was like they were playing the Willy Wonka, that song from Willy Wonka.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah, which I thought that was hilarious for them to try to get in there. But that did. Other than me getting a little kick out of that, that didn't really do anything for me. Oh my man! Another scene I thought was hilarious during the ring thing, and I was on another page or chat somewhere while I was saying this. It seemed like only a few people got this. And they started using it as a kind of a joke for a little while in the movie, is when Thor tried to do the sun's going down on him, man. Yeah. If you remember, I started busting out laughing as soon as he said it.
Wait,
in the
first time in the ring or the second time?
Yes, when in the ring fighting the Hulk. When he's fighting him the first time.
Yeah, that was pretty. I was like,
and again,
I didn't recognize
to
that
me,
first either.
See, that's what I'm saying.
And
a lot of people I don't think did, but that was like the genius. Hats off to Taika Waititi for even thinking of. He did a good job of tying older Thor stories. If you pay attention to the MCU, I mean that was genius in my opinion. I mean, it's like he shouldn't have thinking. Yeah, I remember Black Widow was able to get this dude to calm down with this, so let me try it, and it crap didn't work, and it just sounded funny. Hey, big guy. The sun's going down. You know, I started busting out laughing. I don't think a lot of people even remembered where that came from.
I didn't really hear the first part, but then once he did like the hammer,
I
was like,
and I think people were getting it then.
Don't do it.
Mm-hmm. And then he was all cheesing, thinking
and then
he did then he did the Loki move.
And then he was like,
which again is
that's
more
how it feels. And
which is more genius for them to throw back to
so amazing
the movie of the Avengers. So just good job of like throwing little Easter eggs or tie-ins to past movies. So, it just makes it feel like a good, continuous story for Hulk and Thor, because you're seeing things that relate to both of these characters from past movies. But, so the thing when he was riding in, that was, And then towards the end, like he started screaming, like he was scared. That now I'll say that was kind of out of character.
Yeah.
And then it's like, he stopped and it was all nothing wrong. But anyway, so yeah, that was probably my, if I was gonna say a scene that didn't really do nothing for me, other than laugh at them using a Willy Wonka chocolate factory kind of reference. How about you?
Mine's is Odin's death. Not because he died, because I knew he was gonna have to pass away eventually. The guy can't just live forever. But because of how lame the scene was. Like, they had this whole ceremony for his wife that passed away. And I don't know if it's because she died trying to protect Thor and his woman.
Girlfriend,
Yeah, girlfriend, lady, I don't know what to call her. His girlfriend.
His love.
Yeah, there we go. Or, like, if that's just their culture where they celebrate the queens more than the kings, but like he was just trapped on Earth and then just floated away in gold dust.
Well,
I
can pretty much say
that's all Odin gets. For
it was
living.
probably that it was a she got a warrior's death, because she basically, like you said, she was defending.
Yeah, I know.
She was defending, so she died as a warrior, as a hero. But it's funny, we're not making stuff up. We didn't even talk about our answers, but this is something I was going to talk about.
No, like I legitimately
in the next
stuff
question,
like throughout the week, like
in the next question was things you liked or disliked or whatever. More than just your one least favorite scene. So that was what I was about to get into next, and I totally agree. That was one of the things I was just like,
that's how he goes.
And again, what I would say is obviously it was about them trying to fit a lot of stuff into a movie. You basically are combining, for those who know the comics, they're combining Thor Ragnarok storyline with the Planet Hulk's kind of storyline with Sakaar and all that stuff. So they had to try to close it on Odin. But yeah, even I had to say,
it was just pathetic.
It's almost like, I won't say pathetic, because this is what I'm going to say. For them to have a short farewell and like a kind of lackluster farewell to him, that is about the best they could have done with it. In other words, they already knew it was going to have to be a short scene, so at least they made this short scene kind of give him something beautiful or magical about it.
Which I did kind of love the whole poetry thing he had going, where he was like, or what is it? Asgard is a place.
Yeah. It's
the people. It's not a place. Yeah. And then he went floating.
Yeah.
Which that made me feel better about it. Then the fact that they also just went straight into Helena being there, like literally the second he passed away, she was just like, hey,
from a critical.
Writing. You
it's like,
that's
tension. A little like.
They had little tension built up between
some of the stuff they rush in.
Thor and Loki battle, like getting into dispute, and then the second they what did Thor say? Didn't he say like this is your fault?
He said
and
this
then
is your hand.
This is your fault. And then the second before they start battling, she just comes out and she's like.
And it was predictable. I was sitting there watching it like. Well, first I was thinking, I hope they're not going to just bring her in right then. So like you said, the line you're talking about, I breathed a little sigh of relief, because I'm like, don't just have her show up. Because in other words, I knew she was about to show up very shortly, but I was wondering, okay, are they going to make Thor say anything? Because he should be pissed at Loki, because Loki's the reason why he ended up spending those last whatever years of his life trapped, in a, on Earth as some homeless whatever he was. So they did hit it with like one line,
and that was it.
And he kind of, you saw the tension though. So again, this is like where you get into things where I'm jumping all over the place, but when I think about a movie like Batman vs Superman,
when don't you jump on?
And when don't I?
When don't you jump on?
Yeah, she knows me. But this is when you get into things like when I personally would critique Batman vs Superman, like the Martha scene that everybody rips apart. That to me, that just wasn't well done. This is an example of trying to get something done quickly, and it was well done, in my opinion. Maybe I'm just a freaking Marvel biased person or something like that. Because no, I'm not. I think I'm pretty.
I'm just kidding. Yeah.
I think I'm pretty objective. But that was, I did the Martha scene. Yeah, people ripped that, and I think rightfully so. And that was just too easy to close up them fighting to becoming
the easy way out, which I
to them stand. Becoming partners or whatever. And I get that it was supposed to be that. I get the reasons, but it was poorly executed. Whereas this one, I think, was in other words,
Better.
in the same way, yeah, it was poorly rushed, but it was at least well executed. Even putting him, which some people may or may not know, in the previews they showed the scene where he was throwing Mjolnir. I'm gonna keep trying to actually say the name instead of just saying the hammer. I'm gonna be geek like that and get this thing right. He throws it at Hela and she catches it and busts it. You remember the original previews or trailers? They were in an alley.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you've looked this up.
I paid attention. There was like walls in the background.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you've looked this up. They changed that scene. Like because they have all that stuff green screen and put in the background. So apparently they went and changed it after like the movie was done. They went back and looked at it and said, let's do this differently. It was either that or they may have even reshot it. And they put it in the meadow. And the thing that I was reading or heard that they wanted to do that because they thought it would be a better scene for Odin to pass away, like in this pasture in a green field, and more beautiful for him to disappear. And that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. That is a good move, because if that whole scene,
if that were just an alley,
would have it would have been like, dang, so Odin just passed away in a freaking alley. That's
great.
But they at least gave him this beautiful scenery. It was kind of like he was at peace and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that was nothing.
So, like I said, it added a bit of poetry and beauty to it. But yeah, I definitely agree. It feels like for him to have been what he was for the first two movies, to go out like that was kind of. But it's at the same time, it's like, hey, this is Thor's movie. It's time to move on with his story. So you got to do what you got to do. You got to do what you got to do. And then even Loki's reaction to that, I thought was good. So again, the actors always, he was a little shook up about it. Yeah, a little conflicted. So the bottom line is these actors that Marvel has in these movies always do a good job. That's one thing. Never been able to say they had bad actors.
Which is the other thing that you took. Some things I liked. I said the chemistry between the actors,
which I'm having I got my questions and doubts about what this Justice League is going to be about with these actors. You know what I'm saying? This is what I'm talking about. But we're not here to talk about Justice League until after we see it, and hopefully I'm proven wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Hopefully.
You can't buy chemistry. Chemistry's either there or it isn't. I mean, you can buy a chemistry set.
I knew you were about to say that.
You want a chemistry set for Christmas?
I don't.
Anyway. So that we're already into the next topic, which was things we didn't like. So I've already started by saying, I did not like, I didn't like Odin's death scene, or how shortly it was handled. I actually didn't really like, and this is the tough one. Overall, I liked the Hulk, and in a way, this is the best Hulk we've seen. Definitely as far as like appearance and CGI. And I already saw another thing. Again, I'm always referencing stuff because I'm always chatting and checking pages and things like that, since I'm such a geek. Where they asked, like, it was like a meme that asked which of the Hulks from 2008, 2012, 2015 to 2017 was your favorite. Now, of course, you might say, well, the one from 2012 and 2015 and 2017 is the same one. But they're really not. Because if you look at the Avengers, you look at Avengers Age of Ultron, like, they kept tweaking his look, which I thought he looked terrible in Age of Ultron. It's like his eyebrows all big. He was ugly. He was ugly as heck. Like, they really just wanted to make him ugly in that movie for whatever reason.
Which he's not really supposed to be ugly.
Yeah. I mean, right, he's a monster, but right, it's like they were going too far to make him look
Frankenstein's mistake. Like, that's what they were trying to do.
And then, of course, you got people who think 2008 one looked the best, which I can't argue. It looks good. I do still love that one, but CGI.
That's a good start off, though.
Now 2003, Hulk, the movie that's it's just Hulk. That one, for the time, was good, but it didn't really take long after I saw it, like the second or third time. I'm just like, yeah, this dude is too green. His neck was too fat. His arms are too stuck. He was like Play-Doh-y. The one where he was in like the giant mammogram looking tube thing, but it was like filled with water and then it like exploded and then became. Yeah. Goodness. Yeah, that one was not good. Yeah, I mean, like in 2003, pretty much. Like in 2003, hey, it's like, hey, yeah. But as soon as they came out with the 2008 one, you could see, come on now, this is what. And since then, to me, it's kind of gotten better
He's more.
in terms of looking like the actual comic book character. So anyway, my point is, this version of the Hulk, visibly, I loved it. And of course, the big difference, he was talking, which I loved. People may not be used to him talking, but I mean, if you're familiar with comic books, this dude has always kind of been talking. So I'm glad it took, I'm glad they finally got around to doing that. And the stuff he did as far as talking was perfect. I had no problem with that. Here's what I'm saying, though. Even with that being said, in some ways, I started out by saying I'm a Hulk mark. So to me, I was a little disappointed with his role in the movie. Like, other than the fight he had in the ring, he really didn't do nothing impressive. I mean, his fight with the wolf, come on, Latin, what was it called again? Start with an L or something.
Oh.
But anyway, his fight with that wolf.
It's not like
I think it starts with an L.
No, it starts. There's two. There's two.
Right.
That was the point. There's like four.
Go research it. His fight with the wolf was underwhelming, and definitely, I heard some other people talk about this, and I agree. I mean, the thing with Surtur, I mean, they showed that in the preview, where he's jumping like this. You're like, holy crap, he's about to fight this big fire demon. And it turned out to be like basically a gag in the movie, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he was like,
because
no,
he wasn't supposed to do
it.
And then the dude caught him with swing, and then, they're talking him out of it, and then he just says, but that was a monster, or whatever,
Yeah.
That was super disappointing.
Okay. I was like, okay.
Get in the picture here.
Sorry.
Well, you're not talking about it. Yeah. So that was disappointing. So he really, I guess what I'm saying is this, he didn't get, and he really hasn't been getting any moments yet, to me, like he was getting in the first Avengers movie. Like those moments, just like, man, the Hulk is freaking beast. He really didn't have anything like that.
Oh my God.
And I will admit though, I marked out a bit when he did the thing, when he tried, it was partially, I'm just telling, like, Marvel does a good job of like catching your emotions all over the place. Because you remember when he tried to fall out of the ship to land on the dang, what is that called? Not the Bifrost. Yeah, it is called a Bifrost, right? With a bridge. Thinking he would turn him into the Hulk. Remember, he just kind of hit it. Man, to me, it wasn't meant to be that funny. But hey, again, it just goes to show the different senses of humor. People in that theater were cracking the heck up. Whereas me, I didn't see that. I mean, it was funny, but I didn't think it was funny as everybody else did. But in thinking back in retrospect, and if I watch it, and when I see this video, thing on DVD and stuff, and start rewinding, I probably am gonna crack up at that.
Because
he just hit, and his body was just like.
The only reason
and it was like not what it was just like so. It probably was meant to be funny based on the directors. But, I didn't really know that should have been funny.
The only reason I laughed was because he was just talking to Valkyrie about, you wouldn't know why I seem so familiar, whatever. And he's like, watch, and then jumped out.
And nothing happened. So she felt like, yeah, why would that make, okay, good point.
Excuse me.
See, there you go. I'm not tying in his previous line. You're right. So if you look at it from that perspective, that crap is funny. But see, I also saw, that's kind of a nod to The Incredible Hulk from 2008 with Edward Norton. This is supposed to be the same character, which people act like they don't remember that either. I mean, the Hulk from 2008 is MCU. This is supposed to be the same character. They changed his actor, and they changed the way he looked, obviously, because they wanted to match the actor, and the people that came into CGI wanted to keep changing it up. But remember in that movie, when they were in Harlem, and he wanted to stop Abomination, what did he do? He fell out of a...
Yeah.
So he could land on the ground. So I'm sure that was their point in trying to say this is something that Bruce Banner has done before. He hit that thing and it didn't even change. But then, of course, you knew it was going to happen. And when he stood up, I mean, every time he transforms into the Hulk and does a roar, I get chills down my spine because that just takes me back to being a little kid. I've just been in love with the Hulk. I've always related to the mild-mannered guy who has a beast in him, if you know what I'm trying to say. You don't want to mess with me. But anyway, I have anger issues. I do. So I have a beast. I have a beast within me.
You want to admit that on the internet?
So I've always related to that. So whenever he does it, that's my favorite thing
Just glossing
to see him turn into the Hulk. Or even the transformation period, even when he changes back. I think they did a great job with that again when he transformed back into Banner. But
you need to start wrapping your stuff up.
Really,
I got a whole
I'm sorry.
bunch of
Really,
stuff to say.
really, I was just a little disappointed with how they used the Hulk. But to sum that up, same thing I just said about Odin. I have to remind myself this is the Thor movie. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So I'm sure that's what
Hulk got enough appreciation.
Yeah,
in Avengers.
he was a co-star, but in that what you just said. But see, that's still the thing. Like because he actually was even, in my opinion, worsely used in Age of Ultron. I mean, he had the fight in with the Hulkbuster Iron Man. Again, it's like I'm just hoping, because the story out there now is that they're saying that Thor Ragnarok, Infinity War, and then Avengers Part 4 are gonna like have a lot of Hulk storyline, like where he's gonna have a story arc. For people who know what that type of terminology is. So okay, I'm like, okay, well, I'm looking forward to that if that's what they're doing, because they definitely didn't do as much as I kind of thought going in. I really did kind of think this was gonna be a Hulk Thor almost split kind of movie, but then I have to step back and say that's just me being greedy because I love the Hulk so much. They did a good job using him, considering it's supposed to be Thor's movie, which I feel the same way about Civil War. People act like that was Iron Man. I mean, to me, that was a clearly Captain America movie. Same with Homecoming. People act like, because I heard people saying, man, it's just Iron Man 4, which is just stupid as heck. I mean, dude is in like 4 scenes. That's Spider-Man's movie. So again, I feel like this was the Thor's movie, and when I talk about things I love, that's it. They did an excellent job of giving Thor's character some development, like you were saying. I mean, I don't, again, it's almost like, again, when I do a video on my whole retrospect of Thor's character, I can go more into that. But that's the thing I loved about it. Like, he was awesome in that movie. So, I guess I've already covered the things I liked and disliked. Well, no, I'll just say things I liked was the comedy, which for people who acted like it was gonna be too much of a comedy based on the previews, and then people who saw it, and I've seen people say, I'm tired of Marvel, I'm done with Marvel. They just turn everything into a comedy. Again, I don't really see what y'all talking about. Or even the people that try to say that they just wanted to be like Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't even see a similarity, honestly. Maybe there's something wrong with me.
I didn't hear that.
They both were funny, but like Guardians of the Galaxy, that is comedy. Like their whole intention is to be funny. This stuff to me was just clever. It was just like clever little things. Now, I've heard people say they laughed at this movie more than they've laughed at any other MCU movie, and I get that. But it doesn't mean it was comedy.
See, here's the difference.
People mix up funny with comedy. You can laugh at stuff that ain't even comedy. You understand what I'm saying?
Guardians of the Galaxy
funny is funny.
Is in comedic action movies.
Yeah.
Whereas other Marvel movies are just lighthearted action movies, which are two different things.
Totally agree. And I mean, again, Thor's had comedic stuff in all of his movies. I mean, what are you gonna say? The scene where he took the selfie with those girls? You gonna crack on that? He did that in the first movie.
That was funny though.
Darcy took a picture of him in the first movie when he was eating breakfast at the diner. It was hilarious.
That was funny.
It's just, what's the problem with that? It's not like they're writing, we're gonna write jokes and comedy. They're just writing stuff that's funny. If that doesn't, some people might think I'm just trying to, I don't know.
No, because you've practically
trying to always defend that, but that's one of my pet peeves. People talking about Marvel movies are too funny and too much comedy, whatever. It's just like, I like to laugh. I mean, stuff is funny sometimes, and even in dire situations, stuff can still be funny, and it doesn't mean that it's comedy. Whereas, like, some of this stuff was obviously meant to be comedy, but other stuff to me was just funny, like conflicts.
The we're not doing the get help thing, whatever that was. Like Thor looking in the elevator, then he was like, we're not doing get help. And he's like, my brother needs help, and then flung his body into like the floor.
I could honestly do a video on if we really want to break it down. Yes, I'm not acting like there wasn't. There was some blatant comedy in that movie.
Yeah.
That's
That
like,
doesn't
this
make
was
it a comedy.
only here for, yeah, but exactly. You can't mix that up with the parts that were funny, but they were just funny because they were well written. I mean, it's just like, even a scene like Valkyrie, when we first see her and she's stepping off the ship and she falls, it's like, to me, that's not comedy. I mean, she's a drunk, bounty hunter or whatever. So she fell down. I mean, yeah, you're laughing, but it's not like, let's write some slapstick. I just don't see it that way. Anyway, go ahead.
You've been talking for like 20,
Yeah,
30
I
straight
have.
minutes.
This is terrible. I'm gonna learn how to be more short-winded one of these days, or not.
You're not.
Just be prepared to watch 2-hour reviews. That's all.
Oh boy.
Go ahead.
Okay, I don't even remember where we are. Oh, things I
you
disliked.
liked, and then follow
things
that up with things you did.
Well, I said things we liked was the actor chemistry and stuff, but things I disliked was kind of the plot, but like not majorly. Like one of the biggest things, like when we first watched the trailer, because I'm obsessed with like Norse mythology and normal mythology. Oh my goodness, I'm into mythology. So we had first watched the trailer, and I realized what the name like Ragnarok was, and then I was like, wait, Ragnarok is like the end of the world with like the giant wolves and the biting out the sun and moon. Like, I'm not gonna go into details of Ragnarok, and I was like, I hope they actually put the wolves into the actual movie, or else they're just using a name to like hype up. Excuse me, to just hype up. I don't want to say the franchise, but just to hype up the movie. And then we like read into it, and they actually were using like the wolves and the details of the movie. So, which his name is Fenrir, like Fenrir.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember how to
Fenrir
spell it.
or something like that.
Yeah, Fenrir. I don't know how to.
I would say it's
pronounce
Fenrir. Fenrir. That's how I would pronounce it. You know what I mean?
But yeah, that was my biggest problem, was that they were just gonna be like using a name. Sorry, I'm like reading up on Ragnarok. Using the name Ragnarok and not actually backing up with the actual historical data.
So you're saying you are okay with this, or you worried about what you
I was worried about that. That's what I'm saying.
But in the end, what?
But they did good on that.
Oh.
Oh, and I also did not like Tell me what her name. Hela? I swear there's an N in there. Anyway, I did not like Hela's powers because they just didn't make sense to me. Like, who just has the ability to infinitely make spears and knives and daggers?
Well, hold that thought, because we are going to talk about the villain.
Oh, that is a spot. Okay.
Next
thing, most MVP.
Yeah, so favorite character, or whoever you think stole the show, or the MVP, because those could be all different things. If there's 3 different answers for that, go ahead. 3. Okay, go for it.
I don't want to say stole the show was Loki, but I feel like it kind of was. Like, they, not a lot, but they fed a lot more into him than I thought they would. And Heimdall, he did a good job in the plot. Surprisingly, I kind of thought they were gonna gloss over him, but because we didn't see him in trailers. And then they perfectly just popped him up, and I was like, "Hey, thank you for not like glossing over him at all."
Real briefly, this is why I always laugh at the other thing I always see on these. I've been seeing lately. I think ever since, probably since Civil War, is people complaining about. Well, I've seen the whole movie now because they show trailers. Which I just don't get these. I don't get these freaking nerds who don't understand. You're watching like 2 minutes of a 2-hour movie. How could you see the whole movie? And then people were really saying that when Homecoming. People said that when Doctor Strange came out. Not as much in it, but definitely Civil War. And I mean, people were flat out saying that left and right about Homecoming.
And Batman.
And again, there was stuff in that movie that had nothing. There was still plenty more to see. And that's a perfect example. Basically, I saw people saying the same thing again with previews of this movie, and yet, come on, there was a bunch of stuff in that movie that wasn't in storyline wise and scenes and everything, and that's a perfect example. Heimdall's usage, I mean, they showed him like that quickly in all the previews I ever saw, but I had a feeling they were going to use him somewhat, but even what you said, I would say they even went beyond what I thought they would.
Which I'm happy.
I am too, absolutely. I like Idris Elba as an actor, and I've always liked his character,
Yep.
even from the first movie.
I know
Just
it's a beast.
the way he carries himself. It's in fact, I read something where a lot of people said, it's kind of unfortunate as an actor and that character, he really could be doing even more.
Yeah.
So who knows? I mean, I'm guessing he's gonna be a part of Infinity War, and I've already told you my theory about unfortunate theory about him. Well, I just said unfortunate, so it's not good.
Don't.
But anyway, so anyway,
That surprised me though.
so does that cover your answer for that?
Yeah.
All three of those?
Yeah.
Who was your favorite character?
Ooh. I don't know. You go on.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll let you think about it. Here's gonna be a funny one for me. It's like the obvious, easiest answer, I guess it would, but sometimes it's not the easy, obvious answer, especially for a person like me, because I tend to like off characters, like side characters or people like, people that aren't gonna always get all the rub and the recognition. I don't think you do. My favorite character movie is Thor. Honestly. This is what I was saying a little bit earlier, but I kind of cut myself off because I wanted to wait till I get to this point. He was great in this movie. Like, it's part of the reason why this is the best Thor movie is because Thor himself has been. This is the best he's ever been presented, despite what people talking about him being dumb and all. Again, I can go further into that, but I'm gonna try to keep myself short. He was my favorite character. To try to give y'all some short answers why. His fight scenes were top notch. He was showing beast in his abilities by himself. Getting to see that this dude. It's a vein. Yeah, this dude. He's strong. I mean, he's not Captain America, and he's not human. He's supposed to have some awesome strength and fighting power. So they did that. Even having him at some point, hanging with the Hulk. I'm trying to say, getting to see that. His personality, like his humor, all that stuff. I mean, he was just great, in my opinion. Like, he even further, and I think years down the line, it's kind of ironic that he's hitting this point with his third movie. Because I think, like, now, for the pop culture, he's going to start being, like, popular. Like, people are really going to be, like, checking for Thor now. But he's probably not even going to have another, solo movie.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Heck, he might be getting killed off, for all I know, in these next two movies. You know what I mean? Because all those guys, like him and Chris Evans, Captain America, and Robert Downey Jr., and Tony Stark, and them, their contracts are supposedly close to ending or whatever. But, so he was my favorite character.
Oh,
which is kind of unusual. Like I said, for me, I usually am not thinking the main character in a movie. You got more characters. Now, if it's like an Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, yeah, because he really, really, really was a central character. But when you start bringing in other heroes that are on the same level, it's hard to pick. Even though I kind of did that with Captain America: Civil War too.
Oh my goodness!
So my MVP of the movie. It was Thor 2. It was also Thor. Stole the show, though. Definitely got a different answer for that. And I've heard other people say this.
I know.
And I heard people say this before I saw the movie. So I'm not saying that they influenced me, but I definitely see what they mean. And it was Valkyrie. Mm-hmm. She stole the show. Like, I want to see more of her in movies. One of my favorite scenes was when I'm forgetting exactly what the bottom line is. It ended with her flying and then catching on to the side, not flying, but something blew up or something.
When they were trying to fly to escape the city they were in, that the collector was in, and they had stole the jet.
Oh yeah, yeah. And somebody shot it. Yeah, and they shot
at her jet, but she had already gotten out of it. Yeah. So she jumped on the collector's main little sidekick female's thingy and then started.
And just grabbed on the side.
It was just like hanging there.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
it's badass.
Okay,
loved it, and her performance. I mean, I've seen that actress in a few other things. Honestly. I mean, people were raving, the short reviews and things I saw, people raved about her performance, and I see exactly why. I mean, she proved she's action, even had comedic ability, action. She fits right in with the MCU. How about that? And I don't know if you even heard this. but read a story where supposedly she and a group of the other female actresses that are in the MCU approached Kevin Feige, who's the producer, if you don't know that, of all these movies. And like it was at a party or something. She literally came up and tapped him on the shoulder, like jokingly, but yet seriously, was like, "So what's up? When are we gonna get a ensemble movie for us?" And like he supposedly said that it kind of hit him, like, "Man, that is a good idea." So some of y'all probably heard about that already, but I hope that does happen. There needs, I could easily, man, her, Black Widow, Scarlet Witch, well, Captain Marvel's still coming. I mean, hey, I'm in. I mean, I don't know anything about how good that's going to be, but point is, that would be dope. And because of her, she, like, well, I already love Black Widow, but now there's somebody else, like, right there with her, as far as I'm concerned. So she stole the show like Hulk stole the show in the first Avengers movie. Go ahead. Favorite character?
Yeah, you took it. You said everything. Valkyrie.
Your favorite character is Valkyrie?
Yeah. But,
I can do that.
Besides Thor, because I don't want to do the stereotypical thing where you just choose the main actor that the movie is, or the main character that the movie is named after. But yeah, of the minor, minor characters, Valkyrie did good.
Mm-hmm.
Now let me talk about the disappointing character. You're probably gonna agree with me, and that's why I said I don't know his name, but the executioner, whatever the guy that was like was replacing Heimdall at the beginning.
Scourge.
He
starts with
he was
an S.
replacing Heimdall at the beginning, and then when Hela came in, he was scared of her power, so he just was like following around. He was literally just following around like a golden retriever, a lost golden retriever on a leash. Like, it bothered me because he had no part in the whole movie, all the way up until the very end, where he decided to give up on working with Hela and tried to get on the little rescue ship, and then jumped off the ship to battle some dudes, and then got killed. Like, that whole, like, I just summed up his whole existence in like 30 seconds, and it was nowhere near interesting.
Well, I mean,
I don't know if he's actually dead. Maybe he's not dead and he's gonna come back. But like, he just did not seem important. No. He had a little bit of comedic value in the beginning with him trying to hit on the girls and and then Thor being stuck and trying to get his attention by calling him and stuff, and it wasn't working. And then he was like, "These are my guns, Dis and Troy," and then together they make Destroy, and I'm like, or together they destroy. But I was like, yeah, it's kind of corny, but all right.
Oh, you just put Executioner. Come
See,
on,
I told you.
Yeah, his name was Scourge or Scar something. Anyway, I wouldn't agree with. Here's my thing. He wasn't disappointing to me because I had no expectations, or I think they did fine with him. He kind of just was what he was supposed to be. You knew he wasn't supposed to play no major part. Oh,
I didn't even know he existed.
Crap.
What?
Something else I didn't like about this movie.
Go ahead.
And again, I understand it's everything I disliked was basically I attribute it to them trying to get the story moving along because they had a lot to do. How they killed the Warriors 3.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, for Volstagg and the other dude, the Robin Hood looking dude, Green Arrow looking guy, who's actually going to be playing Shazam.
What?
In DC, yeah.
Stop.
Which I guess it makes sense.
That's
He's dead.
They killed him.
Yeah, he's got no part in Marvel
That's
anymore.
why they killed him.
But yeah, for them to just have them go out that easily and that quickly in a short scene, it's like, come on, you know what I'm saying?
Like, they didn't even get.
But so,
of course, the one character, what's his name?
But then
I don't know. I'm saying
Hogan. Yeah, Hogan. He got a better scene. We were talking about that because he got to fight her and show a little bit of fight back, a little bit defense against her.
Went down with a battle.
Yeah. He went out without. He didn't go out without a good fight. So yeah,
I cried
but
every time they died.
At the end of the day,
I knew
almost.
He played her.
Huh?
I knew he played him.
Oh yeah, he's a director. That's the director of the movie. Which there's a like a horror comedy that he directed that you and I should watch.
Anyway.
I meant to watch it before I saw it because they were saying if you watch this movie and then you watch Ragnarok, you'll totally see the same director because he has like the same style of humor. Mm-hmm. So and it's a horror comedy. So I've always loved those kind of movies. We gotta check that out. It's called What We Do in the Shadows or something like that. Look it up while we're talking. But yeah, so my most disappointing character, dang, maybe I should have wrote some stuff down. Well, in a way, it was Hulk, because I felt like I wanted more, but I'm being selfish. But besides him, I kind of wanted, Surtur. Yeah, I would say that. I would say Surtur was disappointing. I mean, you got a big fire. I mean, that's one of the scariest looking villains, creatures, and then the CGI was excellent on him. And then for him to just turn out to kind of, you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know. It would have been cool to see him just do something more. Although it was dope watching him destroy Asgard at the end. I mean, in terms of like visibly, from a visual effect.
Problem with that, but that's
not like I was glad to see Asgard destroyed, but I mean, visually it was well done. It looked freaking scary and freaky as they were like leaving and they're just watching the background. He was just tearing stuff up. I almost said the S word. He was tearing stuff up like like just watching a person just destroying a room, and it looked awful.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll give him credit for that.
I gotta go into that for comic book.
But just the fact that you had that disappointing thing with him and the Hulk, and it didn't even turn out to be anything, man. It just sucks. And even the way Thor beat him in the beginning of the movie, where he knocked his head off. It's like, well, dang, it's this thing. But everybody, as often said, Marvel has a problem with villains. They tend to like not make their villains really strong enough. Hey, let's go right into the next question.
Yeah, villain thoughts.
The villain thoughts. This contradicts what I just said, though.
Yes,
because
she was way too overpowered.
Hela was probably the best villain they've had besides Loki, period. Well, I like Vulture.
Loki's not even technically a villain. He's an anti-hero.
Right. Well, you're right. He was a villain in Avengers. But it's like, every other movie.
And then everything got turned to the Chitauri.
He was leading them, though. I mean, he was a villain. He was a villain in that movie, period. I mean, he betrayed Thor like 3 times in that movie.
And he betrayed him in this movie.
Right.
Apparently by
he betrays him in every movie. But yeah, he was more of an anti-hero in the other in the Thor movies, but in Avengers he was a straight up villain.
That was a good movie, man.
Yep. So,
Bookmark
heck was I saying? Oh, but yeah, she was awesome. I liked the look. I liked the performance. Like I said, one of the best villains they've had. I mean, it's like, especially compared to even the Malekith and the Dark Elves, which again they got a lot of bashing, and I never really saw a big problem with them until as time went on. I had to realize, that it probably was one of the more forgettable parts of that movie, and that was when I did start to realize that Marvel just doesn't really care about making their villains all that. Like, they're just there to help the story of the heroes, which I don't have a problem with.
Which that's also probably leading up to Thanos, but that's a whole other thing.
But this was like, to me, one of the few times where they made a villain. And again, don't get me wrong, they didn't like develop her or give her a lot of background or reasoning for what she was doing, but
no, they did.
They did, but not to the point like the Joker in the Dark Knight, or even Bane in or Kingpin. Like, when you start talking about great villains, or even the Joker in the 1989 Batman. You know what I mean? Like, you got to kind of see a lot of the villain story, and I think that's what it is. People are spoiled, and they want to see like equal time between knowing what the villain's all about and knowing what the hero's all about. I mean, it's just not the way Marvel does it. Like, you're gonna get a little bit of what this villain's motivation is, and you're right. I mean, in a lot of ways, they did do a good job by making her Odin's daughter. I thought that was a nice twist. Even though, from what I hear, comic book wise, the irony is technically she's actually Loki's daughter from comic book.
I said something like that.
And
don't you remember that? Where I said there was, well, no, I didn't say that. I said there was some sort of deeper relationship between her and Loki due to the magic abilities and the way they look. I said maybe they had like different parents, and Odin had lied about Loki being adopted or something.
That's
a
wild guess, but that's not like actually you knowing anything about him.
I said
That's
I
more
knew. I said I
but it's
pointed
more
out the fact.
coincidence, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I just said I happened to. I pointed out how something. I thought there was some deeper connection between her and Loki. That's all.
Okay, well, so I just thought she was dope, in my opinion. Like if anything, she lived up to what the previews and stuff showed definitely better than the Hulk did, from my taste. Like, I want to see more of her. You know what I mean? And I think we will. I don't think from the way the movie ended, you can't really just assume she's dead. And like you said, hopefully she pops up in Infinity War or something, because that was well done. What do you got to say?
Nothing. I'm gonna let you wrap this
I mean,
up because I'm
will,
about to dive real deep into some comic book stuff. So you
I,
might as well
I
get
will
your
say,
stuff out the way.
I will say that you know me, yeah, her powers
Because this is already way longer than the last one.
were kind of hard to grasp, like
way too.
The stuff she was able to do, where she's just
literally just made
knives
stuff out
and
of
stuff to
thin
throw
air.
at people. That's kind of weird.
Like that's.
But at the same time, I thought it was dope. I mean, I didn't care. I'm just like, yeah, I don't need to understand this. This crap is sick. And she obviously, showed her fighting ability was top notch too.
I don't understand her health.
Like literally, like hand to hand combat. Her physical strength and fighting.
Melee.
She had, obviously there wasn't the actress.
Her melee battle.
But yeah, melee battling, all that stuff. Like great fight choreography and CGI effects. Again, which leads into the next point, which was what did you think about the action and effects? Man, it's crap. You would think I did this on purpose, but yeah, I mean this was.
Or they flowed.
And I think going to see it again, I'm gonna probably even appreciate it more. I thought the action and fighting was some of the best stuff I've seen. Definitely better than anything we've seen in Thor yet. And I guess they're getting more money from all the movies they're making, so they're able to put more money into this stuff, obviously. You know what I mean? Because you can even look at, really started with the Winter Soldier. Like, after the Winter Soldier's fight stuff was off the hook. It's still the best fighting stuff I've seen in any superhero movie. Stuff between Winter Soldier and Captain America. But then you get to Civil War, and when you saw Black Panther fight, when you saw Iron Man fighting, all of a sudden you could see, oh man, that's only 3 months away, Black Panther, technically. November. Well, we're in November. No, we're in November. So December game. Yeah, it's 4 months away. Ish. Man, I mean, basically that'll be the next movie we review. Think about that. That's the next one's coming up. I mean, the next superhero. Oh yeah, we are going to do Justice League. My bad. But yeah, so it's like there's so much about this movie in a lot of ways since the week we saw it that's been growing on me. Because to be honest, when I walked out of the theater, I definitely loved it, but it wasn't like I was feeling like really like this was one of the best movies. But in all honesty, since then, the more I've been thinking about the movie, once we give the score, it is one of the best. Yeah, I said we got how it fits into the ranking.
I know.
Yeah, I mean it's one of the best ones. Like, and I think people who are even with how much love it's getting, I think years down the line, people are going to be raving about this movie even more because it was so much going on. They accomplished so much in this movie. I don't really think even the people who love it, I don't think you can appreciate what they did. Because I'm one of them. I feel like I don't even appreciate the movie enough. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking forward to seeing it again. To even dig even deeper into the things I'm already saying. But action effects were some of the best action. In fact, I'm not going to say some of. It was the best special effects and CGI that they've had yet. Which is funny because I've heard in one of my favorite channels I follow, they were saying that Thor Ragnarok should be seen in IMAX. Now, I don't know if that's ever going to happen because IMAX, I don't know if I'll be going back to do that before it leaves theaters. But I can see why they're saying that. Like, visually, again, like, people who talk about it look like Guardians of the Galaxy and they wanted to take a Guardians of the Galaxy tone. Again, I don't even see that. Because, like, it's just like they made Thor look like the other worlds they're supposed to be in. I mean, it's just like, of course it's going to kind of look like Guardians of the Galaxy because that stuff takes place in space. It's in other planets and galaxies. So, other than that, I mean, how are you saying it looks like it? It doesn't, in my opinion. So, but the effects in fighting, Hulk CGI, Surtur CGI, the Wolf CGI, all that stuff.
I want a wolf.
Was dope. Actually, he was a disappointing character too, if I can call him a character. Yeah, like in a lot of ways,
They made him seem
in a
better
lot of
in the
ways, they
trailers.
dropped the ball. I mean, I'm sitting there thinking, man, Hulk and this dog is gonna have an epic fight. Now, again, if I go back and see it, it probably maybe was a little better than I'm thinking, because the part where they went into the water and stuff. Again, in a short span of time, that was a pretty intense fight.
But they gave up too quickly too, because he
Yeah,
just fell down the waterfall. Yeah.
And I mean, it's easier to sit there and say this and criticize. I mean, these people are trying to make a 2-hour movie and fit all this stuff in.
Yeah, of course.
So I think that was the easiest way they could say, like, yeah, let's have these dudes fall off a waterfall or something, because we can't really finish the fight between those two, which is, I wanted to see the finish of the fight, in other words. Huh? I actually thought that was cool how he came around. Speaking of the executioner, if you didn't hear, Scourge or whatever his name was, I actually liked what they did with him. Where you could see he was getting bothered early on. He became her little executioner, but like early on they were showing his facial expressions when she was killing everybody. So when he finally comes around and then he took the machine guns and started shooting all her people and then jumped off the ship to kind of sacrifice himself, I thought that was pretty cool in my opinion. So I liked him. All right. Oh yeah. Let me just quickly. Yeah. So as far as like ranking it with other MCU movies, I'll put it like this. I talked about my most anticipated movies of this year. It's the best one for me so far. It fits right where I wanted it to be. Definitely enjoyed it more than Spider-Man: Homecoming. Definitely enjoyed it more than Wonder Woman. Definitely enjoyed it more than Guardians of the Galaxy. If I had to rank those 4 movies right now, it would be Thor, Wonder Woman, Spider-Man, Guardians of the Galaxy, which is actually in the order that, not including Justice League yet, but of those 4, that's how I anticipated them. So, in a way, no, you know what? No, I gotta be honest. I'm sorry. Marvel bias. I try to fight it. Spider-Man: Homecoming was better than Wonder Woman. I forgot about that. I had to fight over that for a while.
It kind of was, yeah.
It was, because like I've had a desire to repeat watch Homecoming. I've only seen Wonder Woman one time, and I kind of watched some of it a second time. Whereas like Homecoming, I think I've seen it maybe 2 or 3 times already. So yeah, Thor, Homecoming, Wonder Woman, Guardians, and I love Guardians, but in some ways that they had too many jokes in that movie. You want to talk about a movie that had too much humor? For me, it got a little like, even though it was funny as heck, but like walking away after a day or two, you're like, come on, y'all didn't really have to keep doing it.
And their actual things weren't that good. But that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, unfortunately, I wish we could go back in time and do a review on that, but it would be pointless at this point. Let me just say they wasted Drax. That's all I got to say about that. That's my biggest problem with that movie. He's called Drax the Destroyer, and he was actually the comic relief of that movie. He was like the person who had most of the jokes. You know what I'm saying? Whereas, like, you already know Rocket's going to be funny. And Star-Lord is like Stark. He's just a snarky dude.
You most definitely jumped from Wonder Woman. When you said Drax the Destroyer, I'm still thinking Wonder Woman. I'm like, who is Drax? But
Guardians.
It's Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
I'm caught up now. I'm tired.
You know what I'm saying? When
it is late.
Did the thing, I mean, he was just being most of the funny lines came from stinking Drax. He's not supposed to be that character. So, okay, enough about that. So for me in the rank, we got a side audience person over here who's like probably laughing at my long-windedness.
Yes.
And the torture I'm putting my daughter through.
Help me. You want to be my sit-in?
Sip your tea, whatever the heck you drink. Sip the tea. Whatever, sipping tea. I put this movie basically. Let's just put it like that. I'm gonna just name it because I have it written down. What the heck am I talking about? Nope. That's the timeline, which I tried to make my own MCU timeline since Spider-Man: Homecoming kind of messed things up. Since they said that Avengers was 8 years ago, which doesn't add up. But anyway, I'm sure most of y'all nerds probably already know that. So, like, I still have the first Avengers movie as the #1 movie. It's just going to be hard to ever top that first time seeing all those characters together and how well that movie was done. Civil War is #2 for me. The first Iron Man movie, as old as that is, still is #3 to me. I think that was one of the best origin stories. Yeah. I mean, he was brilliant. Robert Downey Jr. That's why you have the MCU now, because that dude killed that movie. It's kind of set the bar for everything you saw after that. And it's like I said, it's a good origin movie. It don't have the big budget that the rest of these movies have, and it's still very good. Winter Soldier is number 4. Now here's where it gets tricky. I mean, Winter Soldier is a lot of people's number 1. It just, I love it, but
I will leave you.
Here's where it gets tricky. Avengers: Age of Ultron is my number 5. Now this is where, and after I saw Homecoming was 6, whereas Galaxy Volume 2 was 6 until I saw Homecoming. I'm thinking now that Thor Ragnarok has, at least since I think it's better than Homecoming, is number 6. But I'm wondering if it's better than Age of Ultron. So there we go. It's either 5 or 6 right now. And I got to take some time to still figure that out.
I like it better than Age of Ultron.
I think in the end I'm going to, but like I said, Age of Ultron was on the other day, and I mean, this movie's still dope to me. Like, I don't know, people crack on that movie, and there was some bad stinking jokes that got on my nerves in that movie, like the language thing when Cap was saying that to people. That was corny, but there was some dope stuff in that movie. So we're not gonna talk about that. But
dope.
Man, I'm gonna keep saying dope. Dope will live forever. So I think when I see Ragnarok again, that'll help me really decide if I like it better than Age of Ultron. So it's either 5 or 6 for me right now. And my overall score, I gave it 8.5.
We got the same thing.
We didn't talk about this beforehand. We haven't discussed any of these answers. I'm telling you, this is raw.
And I take my planner that I write this stuff in with me to school.
Right. So
and
I have no chance to see
24/7.
Heck, I didn't write anything down. So in my little notebook
goes freelance.
Yeah. It was an 8.5. It was not a 10. Only movie that's been a 10 for the MCU to me is Avengers, and Civil War is like 9.5. Basically 10. I don't even remember what the heck I'm taking the 0.5 away. I mean, I love Civil War. I mean, heck, the movie was incredible. I had to argue with myself to figure out if Civil War is better than the Avengers. But I eventually just said nothing will ever make me feel the way.
Original.
But Civil War is very close to it. But anyway, so it's an 8.5. Again, Thor was dope. He further solidified himself as my second favorite Avenger, and technically he might as well be my first, because Hulk, if I was really looking at it based on what's happening in the movies, Hulk ain't living up to what I want. He's just my favorite character. You understand what I'm trying to say? But if you really went by the movies, he's not topping Thor. So really, in a way, Thor is the best Avenger in my opinion. That's a little joke on the movie when he said strongest Avenger, trying to find the code. That was fun. I mean, that movie was freaking good. And then like I said, Civil War gets a 9. Iron Man, the first Iron Man gets a 9. What's the other one? Winter Soldier gets a 9. So I'm being consistent. It falls right behind those, so it's an 8.5. Like, the only things that could have made it a 10 was the things I was talking about. If Hulk would have been perfect, I probably would have given it a 10. But because I didn't think they had enough usage of him, that hurt. And, the way they handle little things like Odin's death and the Warriors 3 death.
Yeah, that's literally what I was saying. And, they all added up
and
against
and a lack of Surtur and stuff like that. Yeah. But Thor's character, the comedy, I had no problem with the action, the storyline, Valkyrie, Hela. I mean, all these other things were freaking knocking it out of the park.
All right.
Go ahead.
And we don't have this as a question, but it's on the horror movie question, franchise thoughts.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I want to throw this in here only because I have...
Gotta see you. I mean,
I can't... I'm sorry.
Do you not see whether you're in there or not?
No, because I'm not looking at it.
Well, you should be.
Well, I know. Okay, Dad. You know what? Go ahead and give the tech-savvy person advice on tech. Okay. Anyway, I have 2 extremely geeky kids, and you can lean in. I just have to lean in more.
Well,
okay?
I'm going to keep leaning out until you get it together.
Okay, I have 2 extremely geeky freshman kids in my Chinese class, and they just keep talking about these type of movies. And I mean, like, extremely geeky as in, like, comic book geeky and movie geeky. So I was like, I don't know what they're talking about. So I went into, like, researching the comic books and stuff. And the storyline they're going with Thor is, I don't even remember what, like, the comic book series was called. But there's some comic book series where they talk about how being a Thor is a type of person
So it's like a mantle
and
that
not
could be passed on.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Which is probably why there's supposed to be a female Thor in the comics right now. Which is Jane Foster.
Shook me. But yeah. So I was reading into that, and they're going along with that storyline about how like I don't remember what the
I don't think they're
was.
gonna end up going that way, but
No, they're adding that in there. No, they like the director isn't.
You think that they're hinting at that stuff?
Yes.
Is that what you're trying to say?
Cause they
How?
Odin, when he said you're not the like god of hammers, Thor literally means god of thunder. So that was already one hint right there. And then the fact that Thor's actual name is like this Thor's actual name is Odin's son.
What's his last name?
No, his actual name is Odin's son. Like
where are you getting that
comic book
from?
wise.
Oh,
comic book wise. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying they're doing small hints to that. Like they made his last name Odin's son, and then we had Odin himself saying, "You're a Thor. You're not the god of
I don't think
hammers.
they're
You're the
going
god of
to.
thunder."
I don't think they're going
I'm
to
not
go
saying
through
fully.
with it.
I'm saying they're hinting at
Okay.
it. Him and his long-windedness. But yeah, but being to talk, go ahead with your franchise thoughts.
Oh no, were you done?
Yes, sure.
No, I'm done. I mean, I'm not going to interrupt you no more.
No, I don't trust that. I don't trust you.
No, go ahead.
That's pretty much it. No, yeah.
I mean, franchise thoughts. Again, I'm assuming this is the end of his franchise. Which again, this movie, credits to the movie, did a great job of adding to Thor's franchise and adding to the MCU overall franchise, in my opinion, without like really being like Age of Ultron, where it's like they had to like force all these things to make you think about Infinity Stones and all this other stuff. But franchise, yeah, I mean, I'll put it like this. I'm glad you said this because this wasn't really something. Like I said, this was from our It review where we talk about franchise thoughts in horror movies. Yeah, like now that we've had this movie, and this may be controversial, but then again, some people probably would agree. Now, as far as franchises within the MCU, I'm gonna say Thor's is second to Captain America's and has leapfrogged Iron Man's. Because to go a little further into some stuff that's way past doing a real review on, anybody who knows me, Iron Man 3, like,
yeah, it was not.
it doesn't suck because they never made a sucky movie. But of the 17 movies, I could show you my freaking list right now. Guess what's number 17? Iron Man 3. In my opinion, I've seen that movie like twice. I never even think about watching it.
It's only because that plot was just horrible.
It just, I don't know.
The way they just had the Mandarin.
The Mandarin thing, yeah, the Mandarin thing does take me off.
I was like, what?
And that's not even from a comic book geek, because most people out here complain about that because they're into the comic books and they know the Mandarin's supposed to be this, the Mandarin's supposed to be that. See, I'm not one of the people. I don't really care about comic book accuracy at all. Just make a good movie. Now, if you're like literally making people act like, you know, if the Hulk was just literally not acting like the Hulk, which some people are probably saying he isn't, but I don't see why. You see. Yeah, I'm not going to go any further. I don't think he was out of character. I don't think Thor was out. I mean, yeah, Thor might be out of character from the Thor in the comic books. I don't read Thor comic books, so he was fine with me. He's been the character that he was introduced in 2011, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, he may have had some more jokes and acted a little more clueless, but I don't know. It seemed like the same character to me. If the only thing they did was, yes, they tapped into his sense of humor more. But it made sense to me. It was like a logical progression. Anyway, yeah, so Iron Man 3's. And I like Iron Man 2 better than Iron Man 3, which is an unpopular opinion. A lot of people say Iron Man 2 is the worst MCU movie. A lot of people say Iron Man. That's the one that had to do with the whiplash.
Yeah.
But me, the fact that they introduced Black Widow in that movie, you got to see more about Nick Fury in that movie. His chemistry with Robert Downey Jr. was dope. You got to see more of Agent Coulson. And what else? Rhodey. You know, he got his own suit. Yeah. I don't know. And Hammer, Justin Hammer. Freaking love Justin Hammer, man.
You are literally Justin Hamilton.
I'm like, yeah, I'm with sliding, moonwalking my feet on the floor right now.
You can't see it.
Yeah.
Believe us, he's doing it.
I mean, their villain was weak, Whiplash. I don't know. I like the movie. I like it better than Iron Man 3. Always have, always will.
Iron Man 3.
So, Iron Man 3 is like kind of forgettable. So really, for the franchise, that one is weakest because you had Iron Man 1, which was excellent. Iron Man 2 was okay,
Pretty
and Iron Man
much
3 is like, nah.
What you're trying to say is that Iron Man 3 ruined his franchise.
Yeah, it
set him back.
And
behind
each
Thor.
movie got
and now
progressively.
This made Thor jump in front of him.
Each movie actually.
Hey, they each have 3 movies now, so that perfectly makes
That's
sense.
what I'm trying to say. And the same with Captain America. Like Captain America's trilogy is one of the best ones. Period. It may be the best superhero, and people might say, "Well, Civil War wasn't even Captain America movie. It was Avengers 2.5."
Yeah.
Which
That's why.
I'll accept that, but it was still his movie. Like, if you really watched it, the main story was about him and his struggle. He was the one that had the most whatever going on in that movie that you could connect to. As much as I love, if we want to talk about people who stole the show, Black Panther stole that mother freaking show like a burglar. I mean, like, he just stole the whole load in a bag on his shoulder and ran out of the room. I mean, Black Panther stole Civil War.
Goodbye.
Anyway, so I think we're done. What was your overall? Oh, you said 8.5.
8.5.
So we had the same score, and
we're doing good on these scores things. I want to make it like I don't want to say like a contest, but I want to make it a thing where we try to get scores the same. Sorry, I kind of want to make it a thing where we have our scores kind of the same. I don't know why.
Why would we want to do that? Oh, you mean by chance?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Like just
I mean, you would. I guess I'll agree. I mean, I would hope.
Yeah,
I agree with you. I mean, I would hope that we wouldn't.
Cool. Like how
I would hope we wouldn't be like all 3 points away from each other. You giving stuff 9s and I'm giving it a 6. That would be crazy. But so it would be cool if we can constantly stay the same. It would just be kind of cool. And again, we're not prearranging this. I'm telling you. So 8.5 is pretty good. It's an excellent movie, great movie. I'm gonna just go on ahead and say top 5 MCU movies of all time. Of course, some people are going overboard with hyperbole, saying it's the best MCU movie ever. I've heard that. That never crossed my mind, honestly, because it's like there was no question. When I walked out of the room, walked out of that theater, it was like that wasn't better than Civil War. It's like let's not get crazy. I don't know what I love Civil War. And it wasn't better than Winter Soldier. I mean, it really wasn't. I mean, again, I may watch it a few more times, and it may actually rise up, but it's not going to pass Civil War or the first Avengers. I promise you that. It could pass Iron Man, though. It actually could pass the first Iron Man. It could. Because, again, I'm telling you, I think even as much as I love this movie, it still isn't even getting the props that it really should. And this is the last thing I want to say about this. And I don't even know how to like really word this, but just one of my favorite things about this movie, and I've heard a few people pick up on it, and it's probably because this is not going to be a common reference, huh?
Nothing.
It's not going to be a common reference, but this movie reminds me so much of another movie that's a cult underground classic from the 80s. Everybody recognized they had like this 80s thing with the way the logo looked, and even using the music, and it just had that from the previews. But sometimes you can't tell what's 80s if you didn't live through the 80s. In other words, anyone who said, "Man, this movie has an 80s feel to it," was somebody who knows about movies from the 80s. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't have been able to say that. The movie I'm talking about, I saw somebody say this the other day, and it just made me want to, you just want to like high five somebody through the computer, because I'm loving it. People are catching this vibe, and I guarantee you, Taika Waititi wanted to do this way and was inspired by it. Flash Gordon. Did you catch that? See, we haven't talked about this because I've been saving it for this video.
I did watch
If you have not seen Flash Gordon from 1980,
I so
this movie was so like an homage to it that again. I was in the movie theater just cheesing, but it was hard for me to share with anybody. Well, you weren't sitting right next to me, and I didn't want to. I realized, I figured out what our seating order should have been that day and what it should be going forward. We'll talk about that off camera. Well, yeah, she probably wouldn't be, but the order that I have would fit whether she was there or not.
Or then Or Christina, me, you, Tiana, Steve. Go.
Yeah, and it's funny because I'm always, which
You
I need
love
to,
being the
yeah, I need to
end.
stop doing
Stop
that.
doing that.
And I really don't care. I don't even know why I do that. You know what it is? It's the church thing. Because that's my thing in
you
church.
like
It's
sitting at the
carrying
end.
over, which I do care in church. I want to be on the aisle, but I don't really care in the movie theater. So I don't know why I'm still
You
doing
can have
that.
the aisle seat.
It should have been. Uh,
The only reason I felt like I had to sit in between Christina and Steven is because they don't get along too well.
it should have been.
That's the only reason.
Wait, dang, I forgot. I had it mapped out perfectly. Bottom line is,
That's
you
not-
should be on one side of me. Tiona should be on the other side.
Yeah.
Which makes sense because I mean
That's
that's my
pretty much what I
woman.
said.
That's my woman, so I gotta talk to her. You're the person who's been through this MCU journey the longest with me, and we're more movie nerds, so we're gonna talk about stuff. Steven's gonna talk about stuff, but he's not gonna know when to stop talking. So you can't put
I
him
can't
right
sit by
next to
him
us.
because he's driving me insane.
Right. So he should be on the other side of his mom.
That's what I said.
And there it is.
Me,
Christina
you.
should have been on the other side of you.
That's what I
so
said.
technically, okay. Yeah, I'll go back and watch the video, see if that's what she said.
I said
no.
me, you, Tiona,
No.
Steven, and then I said Christina, me, you, Tiona,
Oh, yes.
Steven.
Yeah, that's what it should have been. It should have been Christina on the end, you, me, Tiona, Steven. That way, Steven can talk to his mom, I can talk to his mom.
You can talk to
I can talk to her, and I can talk to you, and then you can talk to Christina. There you go.
If she
That's
needs,
what we
she
should
can
have
just
done.
tap across me and talk.
Yeah, it's still close enough for me to talk. And that puts me in a position, actually, right dead set in the middle.
You got two
Because, see, I
and
can
two.
answer questions to
Two.
Steven. I can answer questions, because he's going to have questions. I can answer his. I can talk to you. See, ours isn't going to be questions. We're going to be talking about stuff we already know.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to have questions, and he's only two people over. I can talk to him. Christina would have had questions, and,
Yeah.
So that's what we should have done.
And either one of us could have answered them because it might have been a simple question like, "What's his name?"
So,
and
yeah.
like it's time or whatever.
So even if you take her out of it, yeah, like, okay, I wasn't paying attention to what you said. Because I was trying to get my own line up in my head.
It's cool. I don't care.
So, yeah, but if you haven't seen that movie, go watch it, and you'll see it. In some ways, maybe that's why Thor seemed dumb, like they were kind of going with that Flash Gordon. If you watch that movie, he's kind of like this.
The DVD?
Yeah, he was kind of like a cocky athlete who thought he was tough in space and all this stuff. So I mean, maybe, but yeah, there's a lot of even, which is funny. I don't know if I say they're my second, because I do have a list of my favorite rock bands, but Queen
is
who did the soundtrack of Flash Gordon, so I think it was almost like they wanted that type of vibe where like it just had this thematic music going through the movie.
Very urban.
And they literally made that music for Flash Gordon, so that's different. You don't even see that stuff anymore. Awesome.
My
soundtrack.
goodness.
Incredible. One of the best soundtracks ever. Queen is just ridiculous.
And I love. Didn't I like pick up on it because I was like, that sounds like Queen. Like it is Queen. I was like, hey.
Yeah, because I had been listening to their
Yeah.
greatest hits CD. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so she picked
like,
up on it. It sounded like it.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
love them.
so this movie was an homage, however you
Homage.
pronounce that. I say homage.
Be fancy.
It paid
Say
homage.
homage.
No, you're right though. You say paid homage, but if you're saying something
It was
is
an
an
homage.
homage, yeah. Inspired by Flash Gordon. As a kid, I mean the nostalgia. That's the word. Because we love that family that movie in my family's household growing up. All my siblings. I mean, well, maybe I can't speak for all of them. Definitely my sister and my older brothers. I don't know about Alex, but yeah, even my mom and dad. I mean, so you could, if you watch it, you see a lot of parallels. I think that's the fact they did that and pulled it off marvelously
Really well.
for 2017 without looking like they ripped it off and copied it. The fact that you can see some of those elements in there. Man, this movie was dope. That's all I can say. If you haven't seen it, go see it. I mean, we spoiled everything, so actually, I don't know.
If you haven't seen it,
You're
then
stupid.
you played yourself.
You're stupid.
Don't go
Not
that
only
far.
are you wrong, but you're stupid, and your mother's ugly. Yeah. Is that what it was? Yeah. Cat in the Hat.
Mm-hmm. That is a good movie. I
Go
want to
see
watch
that
that
too.
now.
I was thinking about that too. Random thought. Austin Powers trilogy, Shrek trilogy, and Cat in the Hat. Mike Myers' genius at work. Cat in the Hat is so slept on, man. Mike Myers is a genius, man. He's a comedic genius. Anyway.
Wait, he made Shrek?
Yeah, he is Shrek. He's the voice of Shrek. And I'm pretty sure he kind of wrote that. So he basically came, as far as I know, wrote all the characters and the storyline. And then you got Austin Powers trilogy.
Which I can't see. Can I see that now?
Man, you could have been saw it.
Well,
It's
I meant
PG-13.
to say I haven't seen
It's
it.
PG-13.
And I want to see it.
Yeah. I mean, Goldmember was the weakest one, but even that was funny. Even
Fresh.
Beyonce was somewhat entertaining in that. But yeah, the first two are hilarious. Anyway, so we're done. It's been an hour and 30 minutes.
Ooh.
That's a pretty long time.
Get
But actually,
y'all-
we only went 30 minutes over.
Get y'all some popcorn.
Only 30 minutes over our last one.
Popcorn and Dr. Pepper and Pepsi
But it's
and
almost
Coke and
understandable
pretzels and chips
because I
donuts.
stinking love Thor. I stinking was anticipating this movie. Then I loved it. So, hey.
Plus, you got two very
I
deep
could-
thinking,
Yeah.
highly artistic MCU and DCN
And then a
nerds
long-winded
and
person.
grammar Nazi and a long-winded person. There's gonna be a lot of correcting.
Shoot,
Wait until we start editing.
And honestly, she digs into stuff sometimes further than I do when it comes to like theories and stuff like that. You'll see that in the It video.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, I got real deep.
I mean, I could go 2 hours.
I swear, I
'cause it
fall
really
into
didn't even
holes
touch
of
on
stuff. Like I was just talking about
somebody's phone. Your phone.
unprofessionalism.
There's really a lot more I could touch on what I liked and didn't like about this movie. So.
Hey, that's your phone, Father.
What is that?
That's Grandma.
Oh, go pick it up and call.
It hung up.
Go call her back.
Well, you gotta end it first.
Yeah. So I don't remember that being her ringtone.
Your phone been acting dumb.
It probably is her ringtone. I just
No, because you changed it. You had some like angelic. Wasn't it
Yeah.
like Mother Nature or like nature or something? That's not That's not relevant.
No, it's not. Well, like I said,
I'm gonna start standing back here if you want me to be in the frame. So
that could work. I'm probably, like I said, I'm gonna do my little retrospect on Thor's MCU character in existence.
I'm warning you
And
now,
actually,
that's gonna be a long video too.
Once Black Panther comes out too, and then before Infinity War comes out, I already had this idea. It could be a whole video or just part of a video. We're gonna talk about listing our favorite Avengers.
That's not
And
gonna work
ranking
out with me because I'm way too indecisive about stuff like that.
Well, you're gonna have to.
Because there's too many factors that add in and no.
You're gonna have to try to narrow it down.
That's
I know.
that's like asking me my
And
favorite franchise. It won't work.
It's gonna be tough.
It won't work.
I mean, I can already start naming. So like getting the first 5 to 10 probably be easy.
Wait, of just MC or DC or both?
Avengers.
Oh, good.
I said.
I was about to say.
Yeah, the Avengers, the people who are considered Avengers.
Yeah, okay.
Which is basically everybody in the MCU now.
Which I forgot there's supposed to be an
except
Ant-Man movie coming
Spider-Man.
out next year.
Yeah.
I forgot that because I saw that when I looked at the Marvel movie
After
schedule.
Infinity War.
Yep.
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
And I'm looking forward to that.
I kind of am too.
But obviously, if we want to talk about anticipated movies next year,
It's still not that high.
it's Infinity War and then it's Black Panther. Yeah. Ant-Man's down the list because heck, Aquaman comes out next year. I'm more anticipating seeing Aquaman than Ant-Man. Yeah. And then there's some movies in X-Men. Oh, Deadpool 2. I'm more anticipating Deadpool 2 than Ant-Man.
Are we gonna see that in theater?
Yeah. And then there's like a X-Men horror movie for y'all that don't know. It's called dang, I forgot.
A horror movie?
Yep.
Ooh.
It's X-Men, but
I'm
it's gonna
intrigued.
be it's gonna be done in a horror movie style.
I'm intrigued.
Gosh damn, what the heck is it called? Oh well, I'm sorry. And then there's an X-Men Dark Phoenix movie coming out. So, but
I forgot X-Men existed.
I'm not really anticipating any X-Men
Those are
movies.
some
Honestly,
really
not even a horror movie. I'm
overplayed
curious
franchises.
about it. I mean,
Intrigued.
they've been so up and down. It's just like,
Yep.
come on. I can't be
Their franchises.
I can't be excited about them anymore. Even though Deadpool's supposed to be an X-Men franchise. I mean, that's separate.
Deadpool is in no type of franchise because he can literally break the fourth wall and crawl through comic books and crap.
Sure.
He's every franchise and no franchise
After
at
they
the same
thinking
time.
Apocalypse, which that's another movie. You look back, man. Come on, movie was. I don't even remember that movie. It's terrible.
All I know is that Magneto was chilling up in the air for like 30 minutes.
Yeah, there was so many things we
and then something was
critiqued
going
about
on
that
with
freaking
Storm
scene. We critiqued so much stuff
aggravated
about
me.
that. Yeah, it was pretty bad.
That movie was
Definitely not done by MCU. Sorry, MCU does it the best. I'm sorry, guys.
Hand it over to MC.
I'm sorry.
Ew.
I mean, DC, you guys maybe with Justice League and Wonder Woman 2, which is coming out in 2019, and Aquaman coming out next December. Maybe
You know what I just realized sucks though?
I'm just sorry.
There's not really a lot of movies
Nobody's
that's going to
doing
be coming out in 2020, are there?
Actually, yeah, there kind of are. Well, the MCU hasn't even announced their 2020 movies. But
They're probably going to wait till like 2018.
Yeah, next year. Which, by the way, I'm saying it right now in this video. We are going to make it to Comic-Con next year, man. Comic-Con 2018, we got to be there. Because I guarantee you they're going to be announcing 2020 movies there. because they won't have nothing else to talk about. Because Infinity War will have already come out. Black Panther will have already come out because Comic-Con's in July. You know what I'm saying? So the only thing they're gonna have still coming is gonna be Ant-Man and the Wasp, and it might actually be after Ant-Man and the Wasp has already come out because Ant-Man and the Wasp comes out in July. So depending on what day of the week or the time of the day of the month, all those movies could be out. So they would have no choice but to be at Comic-Con to announce. Spider-Man
Where
the
is
sequel.
Comic-Con for next year?
San Diego. It's always in San Diego.
What am I thinking of?
It's called San Diego Comic-Con.
No.
But there's one in New York. I mean, there are more than one, but the big main one is called San Diego Comic-Con. And in New York, it's the second biggest one.
Boy, I'm about to leave you and go to like.
So there's going to be them talking about the sequel to Spider-Man Homecoming and then the fourth Avengers. So there'll be some good, cool news probably coming out at Comic-Con.
All right, genuinely stop talking.
And we're done.
Bye.
We'll see y'all soon to talk about Justice League.
3, 2, wait, get ready to click. 3, 2, click it. 1. Woo.